One of the most striking aspects of COVID-19 is the glaring difference in experiences of the disease. Some people never develop symptoms, whereas others, some apparently healthy, have severe or even fatal pneumonia. Ruben Mata, a 52-year-old Orange County fitness trainer and motivational speaker, defeated the odds after contracting COVID-19. He miraculously survived after a 5-day induced coma and is here to share his story.
My name is Ruben Mata. I'm an international speaker, published author, and I survived the COVID-19 virus. Before I realized that I had the virus, I had a number of symptoms. And one of them was shortness of breath, a cough. I had a fever that was about 100 to 101 that wouldn't go down. I lost my taste buds. And also I was sweating a lot at night. And all these symptoms came, but I had the mindset of this isn't real. I still didn't believe it. And I continued with that mindset where my symptoms became greater in my health, where I couldn't breathe anymore. And by that time I went to the hospital. It was a Sunday afternoon. And when I had the x-rays taken, they said my lungs looked very damaged, so they admitted me. Once being admitted and walking through those doors and smelling the hospital, I realized that this virus is real. It still wasn't diagnosed with it, but I had all the symptoms, and my belief system started waking up about the virus. And once they had me in there, later on that night, they put me on a respirator because the doctor said he never seen somebody's health decline so quickly. And a couple hours after the respirator, they said my lungs were collapsing and they had to intubate me, which means they had to put a tube down my throat. And for them to do that, I would need to be put into a coma, induced coma. And I asked the doctor, what are my options? And he says, you have none. So I said, okay, well, let's do it. And once being put in a coma, I was out, obviously, and I was woken up Wednesday. And Wednesday they were put more antibiotics in, and they had called my sister and says he has a 40% chance of making it through Wednesday. Put me back into a coma. That evening, my health started declining even more. They called my sister back up and they told her, we don't think Ruben's gonna make it through the night. She says, what can we do? Can I go visit him? They said, no, nobody's allowed to go in there. And went back. I was still in a coma. Thursday, I started getting better. There was a lot of people praying. Which I found out, which I'm so grateful for. And my health started getting better. The numbers were getting better of my blood cell count from the tests that were being ran because I had sepsis, which is an infection of the blood. And things were starting to look better, which they took me out of a coma Friday. And I was woken up and put into quarantine. And after that, I was in quarantine for approximately 17 hours, and they ran more tests, and they said, you're looking better. Your lungs are getting healthier. Your white blood cell count is becoming more higher in percentage, which they transferred me up to another room. And by that time, I asked the doctor, who I'd known for a number of years, who was my primary doctor, I said, what am I doing here? If my numbers are up and I'm okay, can you release me? He says, well, you haven't walked for 6 days. I had a catheter in, I couldn't do anything. And that was the challenging part of not being able to do anything because of the virus. And once they allowed me to be by myself in the room, I stood up and I was like getting my balance back because I wanted to get out. I felt so incarcerated. And I called the nurse back in and said, hey, look, I could walk now, I could move around. So she called the doctor and he says, yeah, go ahead and release him, but he has to be in quarantine for 14 days. So my brother picked me up. I was in quarantine for 14 days at my house, following what the doctor told me to do, which I didn't do before. I followed his instructions, stayed quarantined, wore my mask, did what they told me to do, and I went back 2 weeks later with the doctor and everything checked out okay. to this day, I feel great. I feel good because I followed the orders of the doctor. So it's great because now I'm able to give my plasma, my blood. That plasma was created from overcoming the virus. I donated my blood, and it's helping people that are having the virus and are having challenges. They remove the plasma and they transfuse it into those patients, which is a great feeling to know through these challenging times and experience that there's good that came out. And this is why I'm sharing this with you. So remember, wash your hands, stay 6 feet apart, and most important as well, wear your mask.